There are some who say that veganism is an elitist movement, practical for only the very wealthy. I beg to differ. There are many ways for we vegans on a budget to feed our families and ourselves, and a perfect case in point is oatmeal. In this episode, I will talk to you about the hows and whys of soaked oatmeal, so stay tuned.
Under strange skies, if you're lost, will you just keep swimming?
Welcome to another episode of Sky Meets Earth. There are 4 reasons that you should consider soaking your oatmeal. The first reason is that it will take you less time to soak your oats than it would if you were taking dry oats and prepping them on a stovetop. So it will save you time. The second reason that you should soak your oats is that you can replace those really nasty instant oatmeal packages with something that you can control ingredients wise. The third reason that you should soak your oats is to increase the nutrient absorption. What happens is that grains are coated in phytic acid, which is used by the grain to protect itself, but is hard for our bodies to digest properly. And so a lot of the time we ingest the grains and they go right through our system, and we never really gain access to the benefits of that grain. It used to be common to soak your grains before prepping them back in the day. Now, not so much. So by soaking them in an acidic medium, the phytic acid is partially digested, and so your body can gain access to those nutrients. The fourth reason is really related to the third reason, in that it relates to the phytic acid issue. Not only are you increasing nutrient absorption, but you're decreasing the difficulty of digestion. When your body doesn't have to work so hard to break down the food that you ingest, it can invest those resources elsewhere in your body. So eating pre-digested food is good for you. With all that said, let's get on to the recipes. This is a great vegan soaked oats recipe for those of you who may be avoiding processed vegan products like non-dairy milks, or who have just run out of milks. It's very simple to do. The first ingredient is having something to put your soaked oats in. I prefer to use these quart-sized ball mason jars for my family batch. I have a family of 4. However, any repurposed glass container will work, so you don't have to go out and buy something that you don't already have. Actually I said that was the first ingredient. So the second ingredient is old-fashioned oats. They are also called traditional oats. You just don't want quick oats or steel cut oats. So for a single batch, I would do half a cup of oats. For my family batch, that makes 2 cups. And that's 2. Clever editing may have made that look like 1. So now that I've got my 2 cups of oats, the third ingredient is simply water. If you can, filtered water is nice. And there's no specific amount of water. You want to cover your oats. I'm actually going to grab a little bit more here. So as I was saying, there is no specific amount of water that's needed. You want to cover your oats, And you want to give a little bit extra because your oats will expand as they become more hydrated. So you want to make sure that they're going to stay covered. And finally, the last ingredient is apple cider vinegar. For a single batch, I would do 1 or 2 teaspoons of apple cider vinegar. And for my family batch here, I'm going to do 8. So I've just multiplied everything by 4, but the premise remains the same. I'm not going to do that on film because that's going to be extremely unwieldy. But yeah, all I'm going to do is take this, put some teaspoons, do this 8 times, and cap it. So let's pretend I've just done that. The next thing is I screw the lid on to my jar. So that's it. This is the day before we're going to eat this. So it's going to sit here for the rest of the day and through the night. And in the morning I'm going to get back on this video and do the remainder of the prep work for you. Okay, so it's the morning after I've soaked my oats, and they look kind of like this. So for my next step, I'm going to take the strainer, and I'm going to empty the oats into the strainer over the sink, and then I'm going to pour water over that. I'm going to pour water over it just to rinse the oats further. So here we go. And I want to rinse it until the water runs clear, ideally. And when I get to the point that I like, all I do is kind of portion out the oatmeal into the bowls. I have 2 young kids, so these glass bowls are really for them. If you're on a very, if you're doing a lot of calorie counting, you may opt to just do single servings because it's hard to determine how much you're getting with this method. This is more of an informal mommy kind of method. So just bear that in mind. Okay, so once I have them portioned off, it's time to decorate. Everyone gets a little bit of sprinkle of cinnamon. Cinnamon is very good for you. You just don't want to go too much with the kids because cinnamon can irritate the skin and they'll get it on their face. I'm not going to do it all here because cutting takes me forever, but I do like 1/4 of an apple per serving. So I'm just going to kind of decorate that here. Can people see this? Yes. Okay. Now, what I like to do is I like to add grapes or other seasonal fruit to this, but we're actually on the end of the week and my fruit selection is pretty minimal right now. One way I get around this is by having a jar of applesauce on hand, and you can just put some applesauce in. The kids love that. But we're just going to show raw apple here today. One way that I get my omega-3s is through ground flaxseed. So I have I store flaxseed whole, and I grind it when I need it. And I do a tablespoon of this into the bowl. For the kids, I don't do quite as much, but they also get other supplements for their omega-3s. And then I do about a quarter cup, I'm really scientific here, of walnuts, also for omega-3s, and just, you know, to make it stick to your ribs, you know. Now, all the boys, all three of them, my husband included, like to have maple syrup in theirs. But, you know, not super scientific. I'm just sweetening it. And voila. These have been dressed, sort of. This one has been dressed to completion. These ones I will finish off screen. And when I'm done, I just take a water kettle that I've heated some water in, and I add water to a point that I'm happy with. Also not super scientific. And then I eat it like this. It really doesn't have a chance to cook. Just warm and comforting. My soaked oatmeal. Hi, Ollie. All right. Bon appetit.
I did my one.